Welcome to another Dimi CAD Tutorials. This tutorials is gonna be for AutoCAD Civil's 3D, how to create a 3D surface, thin surface, as well as how we can create volumes, thin volume surface, which we can use to calculate, of course, volumes. And more specifically, how we go in the construction industry, in the civils and groundworks industry, how to create cut and fill. Okay, let's start first by creating two shapes, okay, which we're gonna use two polyline shapes, which we're gonna use to create our surfaces. So we're gonna simulate a topo surface, and we're gonna simulate a proposed surface. So we're gonna start by creating probably shape with the size of 10 meters by 10 meters. Just a normal square, okay. Let me just clear some of my stuff out here. Okay. So now in our properties, we can see we got selected polylines. Sorry, a polyline, which we can put leave on the elevation 0. Okay. So we're gonna color this one in blue. Now using the copy tool, I'm gonna copy exactly the same shape. Excuse me. I'm gonna copy exactly the same shape on top of it, and now I got two polylines on top of each other. So if we click, we can see two polylines. Okay, we're gonna color the top one in red, which the top one is gonna represent our proposed surface. Let's raise the elevation on the proposed by 1 meter. Okay, when we later on create volumes thin surface to represent our cut and fill, we're gonna see our volumes. If I'm not wrong, it should be exactly 100 square meter. Sorry, 100 cubic meters. How did I work that? Well, it's obvious. We're 10 by 10 meters in length, which is equal to 100 square meters. When we multiply that by 1, because 1 meter is gonna be our height difference or our depth, we're gonna be exactly 100 cubic meters. Okay, let's continue. Now this is where all the magic happens with the surfaces. If you switch on your tool space in Civil's 3D environment, okay, you see I got a couple of folders. This is just my template, ignore them. At the moment there is no surfaces created. So to create new surface, you can select over surfaces, right click, and you can create surface. It's gonna be just a normal thin surface for now. Later on, once we got our two surfaces, one which is gonna represent our base surface or top surface, and the second surface is gonna represent the proposed or comparison surface, then we can create a third surface which is gonna compare between the two surfaces we wanna analyze the volumes. Okay, let's start by creating our first surface, which is gonna represent our topo surface. Apologize, I'm a bit picky about stuff like that. Okay, the first surface is gonna be with style triangles. If you don't have any styles, that's fine. Okay, what you can do, I can show you in another video how to create your styles, or you can actually look how to create surface styles on YouTube. Okay, we have our first surface created, but keep in mind at the moment this surface is literally like an empty container. We haven't put any data inside, so AutoCAD at the moment it doesn't know what needs to be built. Okay, it's a good practice. The first thing before you actually start building your surface or instructing AutoCAD to build your surface, make sure you're gonna click over your, let's call it container, okay, and go and tick rebuild automatic. So what rebuild automatic mean is every time when there is any changes on your geometry or your 3D data which you instruct AutoCAD to build the surface, yeah, AutoCAD is gonna rebuild or redraw, refresh, update your surface. Now if you click on the little plus to extend the surface parameters, okay, you will see definition branch in the tree. Okay, if you extend that as well, this is exactly, apologize, this is exactly all the magic happens here. Okay, keep in mind any surface which we create on AutoCAD is mainly created by break lines or by points as well. And then we can use boundaries to trim our surfaces internally or externally. Okay, the first thing we're gonna do, I'm gonna hover over my polylines, okay, and I'm gonna select my blue, which is gonna represent our topo. At the moment is on elevation 0. If you're wondering how I make that the selection appear, the selection option, I done that by activating my selection cycle. Okay, to activate the selection cycle, okay, or to make it visible so you can switch it on and off, yeah, go in the bottom right corner, click on the three lines, and then find where is a, apologize, selection cycling. Okay, there you go. And once when it's on, every time there are objects on top of each other, AutoCAD is going to let you know by appearing them two little squares on next to your pointer, to your cursor. Okay, so if there is no objects on top of each other, it won't obviously show you which one you want to select. Okay, so let's go back again. Let's hover over, let's select our first lowest polyline. Once you got it selected, you can just go back in your tool space, click over break lines, right button, and then click on add. You can type description. I can type polylines, polyline top. As soon as I press OK, AutoCAD already create my first surface. Let's go to Object Viewer and we can see our first surface. Obviously it's flat because all the levels are pretty much the same on all our corners. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go over and this time I'm gonna select my red line. What I'm gonna do, minimize that surface container. I'm gonna go up on surfaces, right click, and I will say create a surface again. This one we can call propose, and again I can change my style to be two triangles, or I can just keep it to standard. It doesn't really matter. Okay, now I got my propose, exactly the same. I'm gonna click over the name of my surface container, and then I'm gonna go down to select rebuild automatic. Again, I'm gonna extend the surface container, then I'm gonna extend definitions, and then under break lines, okay, I will be able to add my selected line, which in the moment is gonna be is gonna be a polyline propose, just like that. I'm gonna press OK, and now I have two surfaces. So I'm gonna select the first one, then I'm gonna select the second one. You see we got two surfaces, and then if I go to C under overview, however, I will see two surfaces on top of each other with exactly 1 meter difference. And just like that, we got our topo, we got our propose. There are two surfaces ready to be analyzed. Okay, so now if I go again under my surfaces in the tool space, right click again, we're going to create a new surface, but this time our new surface is going to be thin volume surface. Let's call this one cut and fill. Okay, remember the base surface is going to be always your current surface. In most cases in our industry, it's always the topo, and the comparison surface is your propose. Okay, so because you say base, it doesn't mean it has to be the lowest surface. It could be other way around. It could be on fill. Okay, you need to add more to the current. Okay, or you could be on cut. You need to take away something from your current surface, so you can get to whatever is your comparison surface or whatever is your propose surface. Okay, in our case, my base surface is gonna be my top. Our comparison surface is gonna be my propose, just like that. I wanna press OK. A third surface is gonna appear, which is called cut and fill. This one again, right click, rebuild automatic, so any changes on them too is gonna be instantly apologize, is gonna be instantly affected on our cut and fill as well. Okay, from this point we already have our volume surface. I can right click over and go to select. I can visualize the surface by applying heat maps, for example, but you won't see any difference in the heat maps. We won't be seeing any difference in the heat maps for the simple reason the colors are pretty much exactly the same. The colors hasn't changed. Okay, what we can do, we can click on our thin surface. Okay, let's find which one is our cut and fill, which is this one, cut and fill, and we can click on volumes dashboard. This is where we can actually see what our volumes are. And if you remember in the beginning, I explained we should be exactly 100 cubic meters. If I go to add new volume surface, you will see I already have only one, which is our cut and fill. And if I double click, yeah, we are exactly 100 cubic meters on fill. I can actually bring that information out here by clicking on that insert cut and fill summary label button to create a label for us. Okay, but let's make things slightly bit more different. Let's add a couple points to our topo levels, for example. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is create a point. So I'm gonna type point. I'm gonna create a point down in this end. Let me just change the point symbol or something slightly more visible or slightly more bigger. Okay, let's make it 200 mil bigger, just like that. And let's change our point elevation, okay, from 0 to 0.5, just like that. And we can copy, so I'm gonna press Ctrl and C, Ctrl and V, okay, Ctrl and V again. Just gonna copy a couple points randomly. We're gonna change this one from 0.5 to 0.2 elevation, okay, and this one, let's go, apologize, and this one to 0.1 elevation, just like that. Okay, if we go to our topo, extend again, extend definition, and then under drawing objects, okay, we can add points. We can also add lines, blocks, text, 3D faces and polyfaces. I usually use points, okay, blocks or text. Okay, so now it's asking me to select the objects. So I'm gonna select that point, and that point. I'm gonna press enter. And now you can see my cut and fill instantly change. Okay. Because my topo surface change. So if I select my topo, you will see now we have different triangulation. And if we visualize the surface, you will see now the surface, our topo surface is different. It's not flat anymore. This is mean that it's gonna change the volumes. And let's go back to our cut and fill, select volumes dashboard, and now you can see we are only 80 cubic meters because now our topo ground now is bigger, is higher on some points, on some places, thanks to the points we add. And that's why our fill is less, because it's going to be less volume between the two surfaces, our proposed surface and our topo surface. Okay, but let's make the things even more interesting. Let's create two more points. Okay, let's create something like a little buzzer along our surface. So we're going to create, let's go to point, just like that. In this corner, we're going to create a point. Okay, I'm gonna put this point to be on minus 0.1, just like that. Let's copy the point by pressing Ctrl and C, and then going Ctrl and V in here. I'm gonna do that on all of our corners. Just like that. So let's select, actually no, let's go to Propose, Definitions, okay, Drawing Objects, right click with the mouse over Drawing Objects and press Add. Okay, you can add description, okay, drop points at minus 0.1 elevation. I'm saying you can add description because I'm going to show in a minute. Now it's asking me to select my objects, so I'm going to select this one, the right one in the left corner, bottom left corner, and bottom right corner. So I'm going to press enter now, and you will see our heat maps instantly change from fill to cut. If we select our proposed surface, so let's press select and visualize it, okay, you will see now, okay, our proposed surface is having about 1.1 meter height difference between the edge of the surface and where our points are. And if we select again our cut and fill, and go to volumes dashboard, you will see now we are on net cut of 23 cubic meters. Oh, so apologize, on net cut, apologize, on net cut of 2353 cubic meters. You can see how much is our cut. We got the places where we are on fill, but the majority are net is on cut. And just like that, keep in mind that label doesn't refresh automatic. Just like that, we have our cut and fill. And what you can do, you can select your cut and fill, surface. You can go to add legend, okay, elevations, dynamic, and you can place your elevation table next to the drawing. I'm just gonna move that one. I don't know, did I move the surface as well? I'm just gonna undo, select my table. I'm gonna move my table next to my drawing. What I'm gonna do as well, I'm gonna select my table again, right click over, and I'm gonna change my table style. So if we click edit table style, I can see my surface about 10 times bigger. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna change my table to be about, let's say, 1 millimeter. This is gonna be your paper unit. Okay, that's better. Let's move it closer. Okay, but you can see our elevation table is literally empty. Okay, nothing has been populated. That is because we haven't analyzed our cut and fill surface. So if you select your surface, you can do it into your tool space, right click over and go to surface properties. And now under Analysis tab, we can press that little button which stands for Run Analysis. As soon as I run analysis, AutoCAD is picking up by itself which is the lowest. In our case, it's going to be uh, everything which is on minus indicates, everything which is negative indicates cut, everything which is positive indicates fill. So the moment AutoCAD indicates the lowest we got is going to be minus 565, and the highest we got is going to be 12 mil. If I press apply, it's going to populate the table for us, just like that. And it's going to change, of course, our heat maps based on that table. What you can do as well, you can change from number of ranges, okay, to range interval, okay. We don't want to start from elevation -1. We're going to start from elevation, let's say, minus 0.600. And then our range interval is going to be every, let's say, 50 mil, 0.05. And if I say load, okay, it's quite a lot of colors, or we got quite a lot of colors in our range. Let's change them to every 100 mil range. Okay, let's reload. This one is slightly better, it's only 16 colors. If we press apply, straight away you can see how everything change in our elevation table. If I press OK, and let's move our elevation table close, we can see how, okay, bright red is some sort of the deepest one, which is here. Okay, if I hover over, we should see we're on minus 542 in there. The next color is gonna be minus 427, which is gonna be orange. It's more like between minus 500 and 400. Well, it's not orange, it's red again. And then orange is gonna be minus 400 to 300. Just like that. And then you got more bright orange, I'm guessing. Okay, and so on and so on. But yeah, and just a really quick, again, tip. What you can do, you can select the surface you want to show any levels on. Okay, in our case it's gonna be cut and fill. I'm gonna go to add label. Again, keep in mind, none of that surface properties is gonna be visible until you actually select any surfaces. Don't look for the surface ribbons. Yeah, you won't see them. Okay, until you actually select your surface. Once you select your surface, the ribbon on the top is going to change automatic to give you all your surfaces properties. Okay, and now what we can do as well is we can add our labels. Okay, one of them labels is a spot elevation. Okay, so I can click in here and here and here and here, here as well, here as well, here as well, everywhere where my color change. Just like that, I can create my spot elevations. Let me just select all the labels and uh, try to change the height. Okay, I'm gonna edit that label really quickly. spot elevation surface. The text height is 1. I want to be 0.5. I'll press apply, OK, and OK again. And now you can see, let's change our color to something a bit more dark, I'm guessing, something like that, so it's a little bit more visible. Actually, that's the color on the symbol, I think. Let me regen to see if something changed. Okay, nothing changed. Let's select similar, right click, edit label style. No. Select one of the labels and edit the standard label style to show color of the text is gonna be not by layer. We're gonna select something dark. That is for our text. Okay, apply, okay. Right. Not because that really made it better, but slightly. But anyway, this is the quick tips how to create a surface. I hope you like it, and I'm gonna see you in the next tutorial. Thank you. Bye bye.